what's up, witches? Since I just recently did a video all about what's on my altar for Odin and Loki, I thought it would be a good time to do a quick video showing you the current state of my Freya and Frey altars. So let's get into it. Now, for my Freya altar, some of this stuff might be a repeat of previous altar tour videos because not a whole lot has changed with the setup over here because I just really like the way it is right now, but lately I've been feeling a little disconnected and just kind of neglectful on my part of both this space and my relationship with Freya, to be honest. So this past weekend, I decided it would be a great time to finally do a quick little cleaning and reorganizing and refresh of some of the things on this altar. So I figured I would just give you a quick little tour in compliment to my Odin and Loki altar tour video. So you can see on the right and left are still my two dear departed kitties. This whole shelf actually just kind of started out as a space to keep Kirby and the box that his remains are in, and then that's his little ceramic paw print right there, and two little like felt things that I made with little bits of his fur that we found around the house after he was gone. So that was just kind of our way of keeping a part of him close to us. And then we also sadly lost our girl cat Alice in, I believe it was May of last year. And so her remains are in this little floral tin. So I kind of rearranged some things so that they could both like have their photos like kind of balanced and symmetrical on the same level. And then I also have her paw print back there. And then on either side, I also have two crystal spheres. This one you've probably seen in my previous videos and altar tours. It's an amethyst sphere that I've just had for years that I originally bought for just doing like healing and energy work with crystals and that kind of thing. And then over here is actually a nice big pink agate. Or is it? No, it's a pink amethyst actually that I was given at a coven retreat that I went to recently, and I mean that was just perfect for her altar. I love this big crystalline structure going through the middle here, and obviously just complemented the Lady Freya quite well. Pink amethyst, purple amethyst, and then on either side is also some crystal points of amethyst and flower agate, which this is still one of my favorite pieces that I've ever picked up, because even before I knew that it was called flower agate, I loved the way that this actually looks like pressed flowers contained within the crystal. And Freya just reminds me of flowers and birds and bees and all of those beautiful little whimsical things in nature that bring us joy and happiness. I also have some more crystals back here. Is a rose quartz pyramid. Rose quartz I also heavily associate with Freya being goddess of love, and then an opalite. There's my cat Merlin over here using his buttons that we bought for them to learn to talk to us, but he doesn't really use them that often because I feel like, he's going on 10 years old at this point, so he knows how to communicate to us what he wants without using buttons, so he'll usually just stare at us until we figure out what it is he's demanding. Like, we don't need no stinking buttons. But anyway, next to that, I also have some, I believe it's citrine, but I really liked this piece because it's kind of hard to tell with the shitty lighting in this room, but this little section right here almost looks like honeycomb, and since I associate her with bees and honey, I thought that was a perfect piece for her. And then to replace a chunk of raw amber that I had up here for the longest time that I actually threw in a fire as an offering to her, I have this really cool polished amber sphere, and it's so light since it's not actually stone, it's just petrified tree resin, but that has its home on her altar right now as well. A little carved wooden cat that was given to me years ago by my aunt, who is also a cat person and something of a practitioner. And then I have 2 pieces of selenite. One is this beautiful heart with wings carved on it, and I often feel like some like modern day depictions of angels as these beautiful winged women are actually depictions of Freya in her feather cloak, but that's just me, just throwing that out there. And then I also have my big selenite wand that I keep here for cleansing purposes. In the middle is the same little brass cauldron that I use as an offering bowl, and a little sake cup, which is her offering cup. And then, of course, the wooden statue, which I did kind of dust off and anoint with my Freya oil when I was doing my little cleaning here this weekend. And then one kind of new thing that I've added since probably the last time I did an altar tour is I did have this drawing that I did of her when I first came into contact and connected with her. I just had it taped to the wall back here, so I finally went to Goodwill and just found a good frame for it so that I could have it nice and framed up here, since the artwork that I have for Freyr I did also find a frame for, so I thought it only fitting that she also have a nice frame. And then just some cat-shaped fairy lights that aren't working right now, but golden cat adornments are just perfect for Freya's altar. And then the same little lucky cats that I've had up here since the beginning. And then down here is the Freyr altar. Again, I don't think there's too much that's new. Still the same picture. Just a cool little envelope here from a card someone gave me that just had some depictions of animals, including my little rabbit Philgia, which you know about if you saw my video on finding my Philgia. Little Loki spider being cheeky there, and I just liked the depiction of the different seasons and thought that was fitting for Freyr's altar, as I see him tied to not just fertility as in love and relationships like Freya, but also tied to the fertility of plants and livestock and crops and the land and things like that. So that's why you'll probably see a lot of phallic imagery being introduced here. I mean, you can see that little crystal wang of rose quartz front and center there in front of his little wooden statue. And he is actually sitting on a rock that I picked up at a gathering and painted the Triskelion on, and then next to it is another rock that I picked up specifically in a grotto that we did a Nerthus bloat in, and it had some moss growing on one side, which I know is very random, but I love moss, and I just kind of make a habit of picking up rocks in many of the gatherings and hiking and outdoor excursions that we go on lately to keep. This is a fossilized shell that we found at the beach in Oregon that is currently living here. This is another rock that we found on the shores of the Mississippi River when I gave my first Njord offering, and I liked that. Kind of looked like a crown because I see Njord as a sea king, so I kind of keep these things there on this side as a tie into his water and ocean elements through his father, and then this side is for more of land and forest-based things for his tie to the land through his mother Nerthus. So we have a big shell there, the deer antlers on either side, because I definitely see him as an embodiment of the horned lord or stag god. And then a cool fossilized sand dollar that I think we also picked up in Oregon. This is a little shot glass that someone brought back to us from Greece, which is his current little offering cup. And then, oh yeah, next to that is another giant crystal dong that was a gift at a retreat because, I mean, of course, as soon as you see that, it obviously had to go to Freyr. To kind of tie into that is this Shiva Lingam stone, because Shiva Lingam is also a like fertility and phallic image or symbol in Hinduism. So I thought that was also kind of a tie into him as a fertility god. I like this one in particular because it's like half and half. And I usually try to look for crystals with like unique markings on them in some way. Here's a bloodstone, and then I'm not sure what this one is. It might be a labradorite because I can't tell if that's just from the lighting. But either way, it just kind of needed to be here with him. Same with this one. I'm not certain what it is. I just knew it had to come live here with him. This is a snail shell that I found in the forests in Oregon when we were there. Some petrified wood. And then an acorn that I found at a gathering. This is my ritual flint-knapped obsidian knife with the antler handle that lives here. I think this is another rock I picked up in the same place as this one for the Njord offering. And then we have 2 stone mushrooms here because I love mushy friends, so picked those up for him. And then back here is the remains of a candle that we bought in Oregon for Mount Hood, which lives here with him because of his ties to nature and the forest. And then I also have a deer vertebrae here, and I believe the reason this one is here is because it was scorched by fire, and it is Freyr's destiny at Ragnarok to fight Surtur, the Jotun, the fire Jotun from Muspelheim. And so with his associations with deer and stags that I see him being connected to, and then also being connected to fire that way, that was also a gift from a fellow heathen in the community. And it was, yeah, since it had kind of been touched by fire, it was obviously, yeah, again, just another thing that was meant to be at home at his altar. So this was just kind of a quick little video. Some of these things, like I said, might just be repeats from previous altar tour videos, but I just really like the setup of my Freya altar right now. Since I cleaned and rearranged everything a little bit, it was starting to get a little dirty and cluttered. I have a little bit of a hoarder mentality when it comes to altars and just wanting to collect all the cool things and all the shiny pretties, and it's really hard for me to select like what things I'm going to keep out and on display and what things are going to just kind of be kept away, because they're all so cool and I want to see them and touch them. And so yeah, it's really hard for me to not keep these spaces cluttered and get rid of things once I feel like they are no longer serving a purpose on the altar space, because I just get very attached to some of these things very quickly. But there you have it. There is the current state of my Freya altar. I just love that she sits up here with my kitties and watches over them, and that they in turn kind of watch over our living space and our current batch of kitty cats. So yeah, I like having them here in our just kind of day-to-day living area where they can kind of be a part of the household. So I hope you liked this video. It was kind of short and sweet and to the point, but until next time, I'm gonna go feed this current hungry kitty boy his dinner so he'll stop protesting and whining about it. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay classy, pagans.